I would argue, Fitz, I see the Rams as possibly being in that scenario because if you really look at their situation, this is 2 years in a row. I think they're the first team in NFL history that in consecutive seasons they've had an under 500 record at their bye and end up making the playoffs. This is the first time that's ever happened. Last year going 7-1, and then this year the way they finished. I think it's interesting because you got a young football team. You got to worry a little bit about, I know we talk about these rookie walls. You got to worry a little bit. They've looked a little tired at times up front to me, throughout this, last half of the season is fighting in this journey. Every week is a must win. Every week you can't fall back. And you've been able to get yourself in the playoffs. To me, when I look at their football team, because of that, I say, you know what? I would love these guys to be as healthy as possible. Let's use our youth as our energy is what's going to be the factor that's going to make a difference for us. So why not rest as many guys as we possibly can? What does the seeding really matter for us? It's going to be a hard journey on the road, no matter what. We're going to get our one playoff game at home, but then we're going to have to go to everybody else to win unless something crazy happened at the top of this thing. So I look at it like take the week. I can remember in 2017, we went into that season. My first year as a Ram, Sean McVay, takes over. Jared Goff has, obviously a resurgence as his second year in the NFL. His rookie year was rough. And then, man, we win the division. We're on fire. I mean, we actually had a crazy point differential that season and would argue that maybe we're even better in 17 than we were 18 when we end up going to the Super Bowl. And in 17, we've dominated people. And we decide week 17, we're going to sit everybody against the San Francisco 49ers. Nobody plays. Todd Gurley was actually up for the rushing record for the season that year. I can never forget Sean talking about having to call him and talk to him about, hey, man, we're not going to play. And Todd, of course, being Todd, handled it great. So we don't play. And then the absolute worst game we played all season long, week 1 of the playoffs. I think I fell to 0-8 or 0-9, whatever the heck it is in the playoffs. And I think it was at that time I held the record for the worst record in NFL history in playoffs and winning percentage. So it was not a good moment. But I still think the decision to rest was the right one. I just get worried when teams are really hot and they're playing really well and you take that week off. Different in the Rams situation. I think seeding doesn't matter as much as you're going to have a home playoff game. You're going to have to go on the road. Why not rest up and use your youth, man? You're going to have the energy. Some guys are going to be excited to play in the playoffs. Store up for a week and let it all out that next week in the first week of the playoffs.
Okay, so Seattle beats the Rams. Tampa wins. The Rams fall to the 4 seed. Minnesota beats Detroit. Detroit falls to the 5 seed. Jared Goff and the Detroit
get the trilogy,
Lions
baby, but it's in LA this time
for the trilogy against Stafford. Okay. You heard it here first.
You know what I'm trying to accomplish right here. Look, beating a team 3 times is tough. Remember how the first one went? It came down to a possible no-call penalty on Puka. In the playoffs, you go to overtime at the beginning of this season. You know which way that direction's headed, and you got a Lions team that's not that healthy defensively. So, and a Rams team that loves to possess the ball, which is something that's like, hey, what's the one thing you'd say? Like, if there's a way, if you can get a couple stops, you can possess the ball, keep that Detroit offense off the field. I think that would be their strategy. And then you're playing at home, which gives you another tick of an advantage. I think to me that's a window for the Rams. And so I like the Rams regardless of the seeding. The first game at home, get you a win, and then it's rally the troops and let's go. So I'm excited to see how this thing plays out. I think the Bucs are the sleeper team to me. They're the team that, like, you know this. They got blown out by the Broncos early in the season at home, and then they beat Philly and Detroit this season. Like, they're that team that you have no idea. I mean, if you're a bettor, I'm sure gambling people hate the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because you have zero idea who they're going to be week in and week out, and they're the team that scares me. I feel like they could show up and beat the 1 or the 2, and you'd be like, you know what? That's Tampa.
Yeah, without a doubt.